Welcome to Rat Salad Review. Hi, Lou.
Hi, Wayne. Party on. How you doing?
I'm doing just wonderful. Today's
Lovely.
been so fun. Today's like the best day I've ever had in my entire life.
Yes, nothing that could be ruined by a bunch of ticks in the lawn, right? Nope.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Nothing. Today we are joined by Alex Repetti. And Alex, you have a ton of bands. You have Tension Rising, Infinite Spectrum, and then a new one that you started, I think, not too long ago, right? Plant-based Metal.
Yes.
And that one you do with your girlfriend. So
yes,
we'll talk a little bit about that one. But what we're going to talk about right now is actually, how I met you first. We met through a mutual friend, Stan.
Yes.
And if he's going to
shout out to Stan.
Do you think he's going to watch this show? I don't think he watches this show.
I'll tell him to watch it.
Does anybody watch this show other than us?
I don't know. Probably not.
We're trying, people. We're giving you good content. We're giving you good shit.
Sometimes. It depends. But we have good content here. Alex is here. And he is. Me and him have been talking. Actually, I met Alex, like I said, through Stan, our mutual friend. And the way that came about is he actually suggested Alex to mix my band's album. So we've been working with Alex, and he did a really good job on the album and everything. And me and Alex have been working on all the cover songs that we've been doing on Rat Salad Review. And
more to come.
Yep, plenty more to come. For a while, at least. I don't know how much longer I can take it.
I think you found a good core with me, George, and Lisa.
Yeah.
Now and Ralph, of course, too. Now if we could just find a better drummer. No, I'm just kidding. You're fine, right?
I know a couple. So let's see what happens. But
I know people who know people who know people who know someone.
Exactly. But Alex, you've been doing a great job on all the covers and fixing all the mistakes and everything. And it's been awesome. And even talking.
It's been a lot of fun.
You're one of the few people who know how to make my guitar sound good. Thank you.
You don't make it very difficult.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks.
That's not what he told me.
Shut up, Wayne. Continue your line of questioning.
So, all right. So, since I got to you through mixing and stuff, so how did you get involved with doing mixing? What made you want to get into that?
I never thought I was going to actually get into mixing and production. I was always more of like a composer, performer. Yeah. And, after a lot of years of doing that and working with different people, mixing what I was doing and just kind of sitting and watching other people do it, it just seemed really interesting. And, I think what really made me want to start, though, was not even to mix stuff myself, but I wanted to understand how it worked better so I could tell people mixing my music what I wanted. Because I found that I didn't have the right vocabulary and understanding to convey what I was hearing to the person mixing. Yeah. And so I felt like that was something I could fix on my end. So I started learning a little bit about it, just to try and fill that gap. And then as I was doing it, I kind of found that I really liked it because it's kind of its own creative art in itself.
Yeah.
Did you study anywhere in particular?
No, I'm self-taught. I was doing my own thing for a couple of years, just kind of seeing what I could come up with, But nowadays I feel like you can get a pretty good education in most fields just through Google,
Oh.
So for a while I was just watching whatever YouTube videos I could find and stuff, and then eventually I subscribed to URM, Nail the Mix, which it's a pretty cool program. Any people who are interested in mixing and feel like they could learn more, maybe take a look into that. It's a cool service. But after doing that, I feel like I kind of really took off with what it is when you're self-taught. You don't know what you don't know yet. So you kind of have to scour Google and forums and see what you can grab. But at least, when you're watching something that's a little bit more like a curriculum, you have a better idea. Like, okay, I'm not good at this thing, so I need to get better at these 3 things to kind of improve that, and so on and so forth. So, yeah. But since then, it's been a whole lot of fun. I've been, working with different clients. The most recent full album I did was yours, Wayne.
Yeah.
And that was a blast. I've found, I still love writing my own music and performing, but it's like definitely become at least an equal passion of mine, like just mixing and producing other people's stuff.
Mm.
I have a lot of fun doing it because I feel like a lot of musicians, especially in the rock and metal world, they could use the hand, And so I like being the person who can do that.
Yeah. That brings to mind Adam Dudkowitz of Killswitch Engage, because he's their drummer and he also produces their albums. He's produced albums for so many other bands. I can't even name them all because there's so many. But
he's a busy guy.
Yeah, but he's probably like the guy that most comes to mind, and he's probably the most successful, I would say, in the entire genre of metalcore, I guess if that's what you want to call it. It's just metal to me. It's good music, but
right.
That's really cool that you branch out like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and you do an awesome job for being self-taught. I mean, you would never even know, It's because you got people that got to go to a school to learn all this stuff, and then to hear somebody like you just do it on your own. Just like I taught myself how to play drums. I never took lessons in my life, So I think sometimes in a way, I think you learn a little bit better when you're kind of doing it on your own,
You've never taken a drum lesson in your life, Wayne?
No. I had school, like regular school, like we had like a music class. So, I learned a little bit from there, but no, I never went to like an actual person to teach me.
Interesting.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I actually learned playing on my bed. I bought like remember the hit sticks back in the day?
I had a pair of hit sticks.
Yeah.
The ones that go to that little like amplifier.
The little speaker. Yeah. Well, I disconnected that wire and then I used the sticks and hit them on my bed, pretending like it was a drum kit.
I lost the one stick, so I just pretended I was in Def Leppard. Foreshadowing? No.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's how I learned. But that's awesome. And like I said, you did an awesome job on our album, probably better than what we could have done. And I'm very happy with what you did, and I really appreciate. And I'm happy to actually sit here and talk to you. Get to see your face instead of typing on.
Yeah, right. We chat all the time, but we haven't actually spoken or seen each other live yet until now. So.
But I've known about you for a long time because.
Likewise, yeah.
Yeah, because of Stan. Yep, and I remember your Infinite Spectrum band when you started. Yes. I think when you started with that, and he was showing me all the stuff that you were doing. And was he part of the band at one point or something?
He wasn't in the band, but in our probably our first year, because actually the way Infinite Spectrum started was I was in college and I met the guitar player Alex Rakin, and we were both huge Dream Theater fans, and so we just figured, you know what, let's try and do something. And that same semester we both also met Stan. So I've actually known Stan as long as that band has existed, like pretty much down to the day. And with Stan, he was never specifically in the band, but I feel like he's been an honorary band member all along.
Yeah.
He's even had some musical writing contributions over the years. Cool. Yeah, and our upcoming album actually has a lot of his production ideas on it.
Oh, really? Oh, good. Well, see, Stan, finally, you get your stuff out there. He shows me stuff all the time.
I know. He is the best, I feel like, the best composer you've never heard of.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, he comes up with a lot of really good stuff. See, Stan, we talk good about you once in a while.
I don't know who you are, but I mean, hey, cheers.
Actually, Stan was also going to be in my band too, Lou. He was actually, when I was with Pete, the first incarnation of the band, Stan was the original singer, but he never sang anything. Oh. He just stood there. He came to practice and he stood in the corner. I'm like, well, what are you going to do?
That was the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex Wayne asked me if I would contribute, and I would have loved to, but at the time I didn't have recording capability. We just got the MacBook literally I got it from my wife Christmas 2019, and Wayne's invited me onto Ratside Review one time, because he liked what I was doing on my podcast, and he's like, "Hey, you want to jump on this episode? We're doing the 6 worst metal album covers." And from then, it's just been like sporadic appearances, and now I'm here, and now I actually record the cover songs with him, and now I'm recording my own stuff. So I'm ready to record Project Resurrect Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Nice.
We'll see how things play out. If my original guitarist proves to be more of a pain in the ass than he usually is, you might be the new guitarist.
What if he's watching this?
I don't care. Fuck you. No.
Fuck me or fuck him?
Fuck him.
We love Pete. We love Pete.
No, Pete is one of my best friends.
I never know if Wayne is just joking or casting a verbal hex on people. I swear.
Maybe it's a little of both.
Probably. He's got that King Diamond magic going on.
Yeah.
Into the cabin.
So,
and he's wearing Merciful Fate shirt. Okay,
yes,
great.
I am. Yeah. So back to Infinite Spectrum. How many albums have you done with them?
So we have 2 full-length albums that have been released. One in 2012 and the other in 15 or 16.
Okay.
And we have a third one that has been in the works for quite a while. Obviously, COVID slowed things down. But it's probably going to come out like by maybe the end of the year, early next year.
All right, cool. Very cool.
The album's done at this point. We're just like getting our ducks in a row with all the other stuff.
Yeah. Now, are you on a label or anything with that band? Or?
We were on Sensory Records for our second album, and that was cool. Shout out to Ken. He's a good guy. Yeah, no, that was a good experience. I know for a little while he shut down the label. He had his own unrelated to the label stuff going on that he had to take care of. But I heard recently, actually, that he started it up again, so I'm glad to hear that. But as of now, Infinite Spectrum's not on a label. We're probably going to be shopping around pretty soon with the new record.
Yeah. And shopping around for that band, you're also shopping around for the new Tension Rising thing too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of a parallel thing going on right now. Two created during COVID albums.
Right. Yeah.
Two different bands.
By the way, to interrupt, Infinite Spectrum is available on iTunes.
Yes.
Oh, good.
I just added everything to my music library.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Looking forward to listening to it.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's those two bands are very different from each other, in my opinion. Infinite Spectrum started off as like a passion project for me and Alex Rakin, who especially then, I mean, we still are now, but especially then, we were like 19, 20 years old, and we loved Dream Theater, and we wanted to do music like Dream Theater. So that's how it started off. I mean, I think we've kind of grown into our own sound since then, of course, but that's how it started off.
Yeah.
Tension Rising is a little different. Tension Rising, actually, I only joined that band in 2015. Yeah, 2015. And shortly after the band had to go on hiatus, some crappy stuff happened to one of the band members. But about a year and a half, well, I guess actually it's close to 2 years ago now, we finally kind of got back on the wagon with that. And we very quickly wrote, recorded, and released our album Penumbra, which is the first one that I'm on from that band.
Okay.
And I mixed and produced that one. That was I'm pretty sure that's the first full-length album that I had my hands fully in control of all the mixing and producing for. Like, I worked with people before that, but that was the first one where it was all my work there. It was all handled at home, no expensive gear, very completely homemade, very low budget, and it was done. Probably 3/4 of the work for that one was done during lockdowns because of COVID. So it was interesting. We started writing and it was going really well, and then you guys know. Everyone knows, right?
Yeah. I think we got it now.
Yeah.
I had it. My wife had it twice. It sucks.
Well, glad you're okay at least.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, but it was an interesting experience because, we started writing, so we had maybe like a third of the album written or something like that, and then the lockdowns happened. So at first we were just going to put everything on hold, but then when it seemed like it wasn't going to change anytime soon, we were like, all right, we have to figure out how to make this work remotely. So we did, and thanks to stuff like Google Drive and WeTransfer and the other million versions of those things, which we talked about a little bit.
Yes. Nobody ever use Dropbox. That Dropbox sucks.
Dropbox isn't the pimple on the ass of the fly on the ass of the elephant when it comes to WeTransfer. And no, we're not getting paid to say that. Fuck Dropbox.
Professionally endorsed by WeTransfer. No. So we had to figure out how to get everything done remotely, and it was a little bit of a tricky thing at first. But we made it work, and we put out the album. We were proud of it.
Yeah.
And even just musically speaking, that was already kind of a big departure from what Tension Rising sounded like before.
Oh, okay.
Before I was in the band, they were very much sort of like a mix of like classic metal, classic rock, maybe a little bit of 90s even in there. Like a nice mishmash of 70s, 80s, 90s, I would say.
So you wrote your progressive element in there then?
Yeah, a little
lot
bit.
Of progressive
yeah.
Stuff.
Oh, yeah, especially in this upcoming album
one.
that isn't out yet. Yeah, there's definitely more progressive stuff in there. That's what comes out of me when I'm allowed to do it. But for Penumbra, it's a little less progressive. There's like little tastes of it in there, but we were trying to keep it like similar to the sound they had before, but just heavier. That was like what they wanted out of it.
Yeah.
And it was like I said, that was the first material I wrote with them. Before that, even when I was in the band, I let them handle the writing because I didn't want to screw with their writing process.
Right. Yeah.
But then when they asked me to be involved, that was another story. So
that's cool.
It was cool. And then this time around, I was heavily involved in the writing for the upcoming album that's not announced yet. Until now, maybe. But yeah, for that one, I did a lot of the writing, and I wrote all the lyrics on that one too, which was
really?
That's kind of new for me. I didn't actually do the lyric thing up until these last two Tension Rising albums.
Okay.
Like all the years with Infinite Spectrum, that wasn't my thing. So that was new for me.
So how did you get involved with the band, with Tension Rising?
Yeah, that's a cool story. So it goes back to when I was like maybe 15 or 16, something like that. We were just in high school, and we all were, all the people who I knew who were musicians at the time, who went to our school, were all guitar players. There were no drummers, no bass players, hardly any singers.
Right.
There were maybe a few guys who did like the Cookie Monster vocal type stuff, but anyway, we found this one drummer who went to a different school. And he was cool with people just coming over and jamming in the garage. So I went and did that a bunch of times because it was awesome to finally jam with people. And I met the now former, but the guy Nicky Van Page, who was the Tension Rising lead guitar player all the way up until this year, actually. And I've known him since I was 15, 16 years old. We've always been in touch. But I only jammed with him a few times at that time in my life, and then many years went by, and I joined in 15, so I guess it was around 2014-ish, where he had contacted me asking if I knew anyone who could help them record their album that they were working on. At the time, I wasn't doing that yet. But I recommended a friend of mine, actually Alex Rakin, the guitar player of Infinite Spectrum. I recommended him to do the recording for them, and they were happy. But that's kind of when I reconnected with Nick a little bit. Okay. And when I was there when I kind of introduced Rakin and them, because I don't think they had met before that. And they were mentioning to me that their bass player totally amicable reasons or whatever, but he had left the band not too long before, and that they were just going to cover doing the bass themselves,
Right.
which they did, and they did a pretty good job. But but at that time, I offered to Nick, saying, well, if you guys can't find a bass player when you're doing shows, let me know. I could help out. Like a year later, they reached out, but not for just shows, but they wanted me to join the band entirely. I was a little busy. I was actually slightly reluctant to do it at the time, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I wanted to help them out. I mean, I've known the guy since I was, 15, 16 years old.
Right.
So I joined, and at the time, it wasn't really exactly my genre of music either. I just liked the guys.
Right.
So that sort of explains maybe a little bit why I wasn't really involved in the writing process too. It wasn't really my style of music. I didn't want to change what they had. I was just helping them out.
Right.
But obviously it's evolved since then.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. I have to
So
go
long
back
story
and
short,
listen.
I met him in high school.
You could have just started that. But I'll have to go back. I thought this was your band too. I thought you started all these bands, but see how I'm not very good at looking up history. And I should have asked you before we did the show too. But hey, that's what the show is for. We learn.
I mean, especially with this most recent album, I'm sort of the one like pushing things forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I can definitely. I hear your influences on this album.
Yeah.
Now, how was your mixing? Like when you did that first Tension Rising album with them, how is that compared to what you do now? Like, is there a huge improvement?
Well, I mean, people will have to listen and judge for themselves, I suppose. But yeah, I think that I've gotten a lot better since then. Yeah. I think I did really good for it being extremely low budget. We were all using like wonky recording equipment and. Like the lockdowns had just started, so we couldn't even get new strings and stuff like that,
Right.
So we just worked with what we had, and there's a lot of guesswork going on. Obviously, like even for the vocals, like he was having to track like in his basement. There's no treatment or anything, so it's not an optimal situation. But we did what we could with it, and I'm pretty proud of it even now. But yeah, this time around, even though it was still done entirely in lockdown, we went into it with a much better game plan, some better equipment. And I essentially, because I couldn't be in the room to help sort of like coach and produce anyone while they were performing, they actually kept me on Skype. And I literally sat there on Skype with them, kind of coaching them through the recording.
Oh, wow.
So that was an interesting experience for me.
Yeah. If you don't mind me saying, it actually sounds like a record that could be released on, like, let's say a Nuclear Blast. I think it sounds that good.
Compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to give too much away. Wayne, I don't think we can give too much away about the recordings.
Well, it's up to Alex. Not to me.
The only thing we can't really give away is maybe like the actual songs or whatever. You could talk about it though.
Well, I just want to say it was my first listen to your band. It was my first time listening to it, and it reminded me of so many bands that I love in an original package. Like I could hear like Soilwork in it. I could even hear Depeche Mode in the vocals, and like the way that it was produced and mixed. Holy fuck! So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. That's a huge compliment.
No problem.
Yeah, no, it is really good. I've been listening to it for the last couple of days now, and you're like Lou says, your mixing and stuff is just it's awesome. On here, you really did an excellent job.
Thank you.
I think if anybody really wants to get their band to sound really good, please call Alex.
Hire Alex. I'm going to.
Thank you.
Everyone else I know is retired with wives and kids and mortgages and first-time divorces, so I'm hiring Alex.
I look forward to that. I already mixed a lot of your performances already, so yeah.
And he liked it.
I do.
So like you said, you're searching for a label for this, and
yes.
I really hope you find something, because I don't see how there won't be somebody that's going to grab it, and hopefully, like Lou says, Nuclear Blast. I mean, that would be awesome.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
So I hope that you get
That's a dream.
big label. It is a dream. but we'll see what happens. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough, especially now. I mean, I can
It's
imagine.
really competitive right now. Yeah.
Because I mean, thankfully now tours and everything are starting to come up. I see Alice Cooper just has something, and Lou, you just bought Genesis tickets and Rammstein tickets.
That's right.
Yes, the Rammstein tickets are a graduation gift for my eldest niece who just graduated from Iona.
Oh, I hope you don't watch the show. And I didn't just spoil a surprise.
No, she don't care for what I do, but she is my late brother's daughter, and she's like, she's like my daughter, so I'm happy to do this. I took her to Rammstein for her high school graduation, and that was at Jones Beach. This time it's at MetLife Stadium. And for my wife, we're going to see Genesis in December, and apparently we're going to possibly see Billy Joel as long as like MSG doesn't decide to reschedule for the third time. And Ace Frehley just announced that he's going on the road with Alice Cooper.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Kiss announced we don't give a fuck about Kiss. Anyways.
Well, yeah, so it looks like the shows are starting to come back, and hopefully that'll be good for the labels as well, because now they have
I hope so.
kind of income, and the bands have income and everything again. So hopefully. So what labels have you sent your stuff to, though? Can you give us a hint?
I don't remember all of them at the moment, if I'm being honest.
Well, some cool.
But,
do you remember like some ones that you would like to really get on?
Well, you already mentioned Nuclear Blast. I mean, that's a dream. I've been following that label since I was a kid.
Just about my whole collection's from Nuclear Blast.
Yeah, right. What else? Well, you know what? We are chatting with Sensory Records right now. Who else?
There are a lot of labels out there that are specializing in like progressive metal. I mean, Inside Out. I think they have
Inside Out. Yeah, right.
That's true. And I think they have Derek Sherinian too.
Yeah, they do have Derek. Yeah, no, they're great. I love Inside Out. I'm a fan of probably 90% of the music they put out.
You may want to jump on possibly finding a marketing specialist for college radio to help break you into the loud rock scene. You could look up like McGaffey, or you could look up skateboard marketing. They're independent, and they're a lot of times labels actually hit them up to market their material to college radio, and other times it's independent artists, and that's how they get discovered. So you may want to take a look at that.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna message you about that afterwards.
All right, no problem. Are you on social media?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you just added me. Oh, crap. You did add me, and I accepted.
Yeah, like a day or two ago. Yeah.
Lose a little slow.
I saw the name pop up in my recommended friends, and I was like, "That's the guy."
That's me. And Wayne, yes, I am a little slow. There's not enough hours in a day, and there's not enough coffee in the world to fill me up.
Relatable.
But no, that's what I like about having Lou on the show, because he is very knowledgeable, because he worked on MTV and you worked in your college radio thing. What?
For MTV.
Yeah. I'm not, you know what I mean. But,
the only man who passed the kidney stone while helping to associate direct the VMA in 2005.
Really?
I said, don't call a fucking ambulance yet. Wait till it's over.
Oh, man.
As they wheeled me out in the gurney, I got the slow clap, so I'm proud of that.
You had to go on a gurney?
Dude, you can't walk when you pass into kidney stone.
Bullshit, I was driving a truck at work when I passed mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sucks to be you. What the fuck? Oh, God.
That is the worst pain ever, isn't it?
I can think of other things, but like having your gallbladder removed, that's, my wife is yelling at me because she was like, I told you not to eat the weary pepper. That's 300,000 Scoville units. It wasn't the pepper. The gallbladder just went septic. It happened.
It was on its way.
Hopefully just once, and then it's gone.
I never thought this conversation would turn that way, but have you ever passed a kidney stone, Alex?
I
didn't want you to feel left out.
I have not.
What's your favorite Tool album?
Oh man, that's right. I wish I had George on.
That is the running joke of Rat Salad Review.
Oh man,
too funny. But you're a huge fan of Dream Theater. Why? I mean, what got you into Dream Theater? I'm not saying that as a bad thing because when Pull Me
why?
Under. No, but like Pull Me Under came on, that was humongous,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's all I would listen to by them, and then I got that album, that Images and Words. I mean, that whole thing from the beginning to the end is just phenomenal. It's one of the all-time best albums ever. So
I agree.
what
No
was
argument.
what was your lead into Dream Theater?
Well, I only started.
You say when Dreamer Day Unite, you're a liar.
Oh no.
Yeah,
it's a good album though.
No, that's a good album. No, I was only 2 years old for that album, so
younger than us.
But I didn't find Dream Theater until I was already learning how to play guitar.
Oh, okay.
Before I didn't actually start like doing anything musical in my life until I was about 16.
Oh wow, okay.
Pretty late start. Okay. And I started off because I was a huge Led Zeppelin fan and I wanted to play like Jimmy Page. That's where I started. Yeah. I've moved a long way from there since, but I still love Jimmy Page. Who doesn't? But I started around then, and at the time, some of my friends who were musicians started recommending me music. And I started finding like, oh, I really like metal. I wasn't into metal before that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, like maybe a couple of random hits that were on the radio, but I didn't really know anything about metal. And I started really liking it because it was fun to play on guitar. And from there, I was already a big fan of like classic rock and classic prog rock, Yes and Rush and stuff like that. And my friend, he said like, if you really like Metallica and Yes, you have to check these guys out. And it was Dream Theater.
Interesting.
And I think that's a pretty apt comparison, especially depending what song you listen to.
Depending what song, maybe what album too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny that he drew that parallel because they've opened for Yes and they've covered Metallica.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So I listened. I think the first song I heard of theirs was. It wasn't "Pull Me Under." It was shoot. It was from the same album.
If you're saying that you discovered them at 16 and you were born in 88, 89, then I'm going to say it was somewhere between Train of Thought and Octavarium.
Yeah, I got into Dream Theater like right as Train of Thought came out.
Okay.
Wow.
So is it a good guess that maybe As I Am was the song that got you into them?
It was Endless Sacrifice.
Okay.
Endless
That is
Sacrifice.
a good song.
Yeah, he sent that one first because I had just told him like a few days before that I was enjoying playing some of the clean guitar stuff from Metallica, like Fade to Black and things like that. And he was like, "Oh, you know what? This kind of sounds like that. Check this out."
Yeah.
And I was like, I liked it a lot. That song doesn't really quite sound like a lot of their material, which was interesting because it was the first one I heard, but I loved it. I played it on loop for days. I couldn't wrap my head around how to play that stuff. And at the time, I didn't understand how like odd time signatures work or any of that. So it was just like I couldn't even like follow it. It was just it sounded awesome.
Right. Yeah.
And that kind of set me off on my path to learn more about like the inner workings of how music theory works for all the prog stuff. Because I couldn't understand it, Up until then, I just did everything by ear.
Right.
And here I am now.
Did you ever manage to get into bands like Meshuggah or Candiria or guitarists like Alan Holdsworth?
Alan Holdsworth is awesome. I don't know his music super well, but I have huge respect for him.
I recommend Wardenclyffe Tower if you want to listen to any of his stuff. It's really good.
That sounds familiar. I might have.
Okay.
But I'll check that out. It's interesting. Ever since actually, let me backtrack. You asked about Meshuggah. I was never into them or any music with screaming. until I got more into producing and engineering. It's interesting. I've become a fan of a lot of different styles of music since doing that. I think what draws me in now is the production.
Right.
And then I appreciate it, and then I like the music too. It's really different than how I used to listen to music before.
I think production nowadays, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I love the clarity. I feel like a lot of records are better produced today than they ever have been. But at the same time, I can't stand the compression. I really like to hear, the warmth of the instruments in the music that I'm listening to, because I feel like it adds life to it. That's something that I think your band, the latest EP release, it definitely doesn't suffer from that. And
that's good to hear.
And a lot of bands don't, but you have some that do suffer from the loudness war that you get with any kind of like digital recording.
Yep.
And that's something I know, Wayne, you and I try to avoid like the plague. So
yeah, pretty much. Alex knows that very well.
I think I have a better feel for what you're going for now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Who, me in particular or him?
No, me.
Oh.
No, the very first mix I did for them, I made it much more like very produced and loud.
Yeah.
And Wayne was just like, but now I think I have a good sense for what Wayne likes. So
it sounds good on my car stereo. On my car stereo through the Bluetooth.
That's the real test,
so
right?
That's good.
That's always the test.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Every time you sent me a song, I went right out to the car. I said, if it sounds good in the car, it sounds good everywhere.
Yeah.
The Eddie Van Halen school of thought.
Yeah.
Blast that fucker till you can't anymore and see if you enjoy it.
Exactly. But and talking about Dream Theater, my brother is a huge Dream Theater fan too, and it's almost to the point where it's the only thing he listens to. I mean, he listens to other stuff, but he always what? What are you saying? What?
I'm sorry. Some Dream Theater fans are fucking obnoxious as hell. That's all I'm gonna say.
They are. My brother's very obnoxious.
Well, I don't know your brother from Adam, but
God, he got really heavy into the Beatles too when he was younger and in school because they were teaching the Beatles. And when he got into the Beatles every day, Beatles, to the point where I was just like, please stop with the Beatles, And then when he got into Dream Theater, then it was like, please stop with the Dream Theater, because then he would borrow my CDs and I'd get them back completely scratched and I couldn't hear them anymore. And I couldn't tell you how many I had to replace. Well, I made him replace them, but still, just like, oh my God, he wouldn't stop. And then a few years ago, when he had to move, he got rid of all the CDs and everything, but he still wanted to borrow my Dream Theater stuff. I said, I'm not copying anything for you, but I'll buy you. They have like a box set of all the Dream Theater albums, most of them. So I bought him that. So he has his own copy. And I saw it in his car the other day, but it's like buried under a bunch of junk.
He's like, Wayne, can you give me the Yitzy Jam Records version of Number of the Beast, please?
I don't think so. But I love Dream Theater as well, but not as much as I used to. They've changed, I think.
Yeah. I still love Dream Theater also, but it's different now. Yeah,
I think so. What's your favorite band as of right now? Besides Project
Resurrect. Oh, Jesus Christ.
If I'm being honest, I have had that album stuck in my head for a month straight now.
Really?
But the songs are really catchy. I loved working on it. But favorite,
I'll send the money to you soon. Don't worry.
Soon meaning in the next millennium.
Yes.
That's funny. Favorite band, honestly.
Is it really hard for you to actually listen to music because you're doing all these other bands, producing them and everything? Is it hard for you to go out and listen to music now?
Yes. Yes. I feel like I don't want to keep making this all about COVID. I'm just saying, since then, though.
I don't think we have a choice. I mean, it's been in our life for a year now, right? So
we've been effed in the A in the last 15 months because of COVID.
Yeah. So you know what it is? The time that I used to take out for myself to listen to new music was when I was commuting.
Right. Okay.
And I used to constantly go back and forth on the trains from Brooklyn to Manhattan, Jersey to Manhattan, back and forth. I had normally at least 3 or 4 hours of commuting each day.
Right.
And so that's when I would delve into music that I didn't already know.
Right.
And sometimes Netflix too. But but since being in the lockdowns and like trying to stay productive, and as you said, I have like the 3 different bands doing stuff, and then I have like the covers that we were working on, and then now I was mixing other people's albums, including yours, and then trying to take time to keep refining my craft at mixing also. I feel like I don't really listen for enjoyment purposes a whole lot lately. I have like a big stack, not physically, but like I have a huge list of albums that I want to get to that have come out in the last 14, 15 months or whatever, but I haven't really made much way through it yet. Even my favorite bands have not really I haven't really digested their albums yet. If I had to pick a favorite new band though, I guess they're not new, but like compared to Dream Theater, they're new. Haken is definitely up there.
I know the name. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they're really good. They're out of the UK, and they started off very much like Dream Theater. Also, they're in like that modern progressive metal wave, and since then they've really made their own sound. Though, like they incorporated some Gent into it and some other stuff. It's pretty cool. I've been a big fan of theirs, and they put out a new album maybe about a year ago, something like that, pretty early in the lockdown stuff. And I listened to it a couple of times so far, but for me, especially with progressive music, I usually need at least like a dozen listens before I can really like fully formulate my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
It's just so dense of a music genre, so. I mean, I liked the first couple listens, but I honestly, if you turned on one of their songs right now from that album, I wouldn't know.
Right. Yeah.
I would say, oh, it sounds like Haken, but I don't know the song.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I have a problem with like progressive music, because it's you really have to pay attention.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the mood for it, it's just not going to click with you.
Absolutely.
It happens with a lot of bands like that, but. With your thing, yours clicked right away, so it was good to listen to yours. I can listen to it. Actually, the thing that you did send us listen to, it's hard to pick like a one song from it, that's like a favorite. I think it has to be listened to as a whole thing, and is that purposely done that way for this?
Yeah, it's interesting. Tension Rising. Like I said, they kind of went through a whole lot of genre kind of shifts over the years, and especially since my being involved, it shifted even more. They never did any kind of like concept albums or like story albums. It was always just like a collection of songs, like individual songs. And there's actually the singer, Chris, who back when we were writing Penumbra, he had this idea that he wanted to write like an epic, maybe like a 12, 15-minute song, something like that, about the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And so that was his idea. And spoiler alert, I mean, that's what the upcoming album is. So we didn't get to really...
Heard here, right here on Matt's Sound Review.
Oh, I thought it was about the 4 Horsemen of WCW. No, just kidding.
Woo!
It could be.
Diving and profiling. Woo!
That's a throwback. So when we were doing Penumbra, it proved a little challenging to get that 12 to 15-minute song sounding in a way we were happy with, especially like with the lockdowns, and we weren't like really in the groove of how we were doing things. And I felt like what we did come up with was not doing it justice. And so we had a talk, and we were like, this deserves better. Let's just not put it on the album, and then we'll turn it into its own album, like a short album. And so we did. We put out Penumbra without it, and from there we took the material we had for that like 12-minute demo. It might have been 11 minutes at the time, and broke it up, got rid of the parts we didn't like, refined things, and then decided, all right, you know what? Instead of it being one song, we're going to make it 4 songs, one for each horseman. And so we wrote the 4 songs, and then I felt like, you know what? I like that there's one song per horseman, but it's so this idea of like the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, like if you're like really going to put your head into that space, it has to be cinematic.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be epic and cinematic. And so that's when we kind of decided, you know what, we're going to do like an actual full out intro and outro track also. And when I started sending the guys some ideas, it wasn't just like music. A lot of it was like sound design, you know, like getting like actual sounds of like horses and, you know, wind blowing, like trying to like actually set like sort of a mental image for the listener before the songs start. And so that became a really fun project for me, like just building all of those soundscapes. And yeah, so like the goal was to make it sort of, yeah, like you said, I think the best way to listen to it would be from front to end.
Yeah.
I think that the 4 songs, not including the intro and outro, are pretty cool on their own too. But yeah, like I think it's best to listen in order.
Yeah, no, they work on their own, but to understand the whole thing, I would listen to it from start to finish. Yeah.
Definitely.
And like you said, with the cinematic stuff, it really adds to the music. You know?
Agreed.
Gives you more of a vision in your head. What?
I was gonna say I can't listen to it without listening to it from start to finish to all 6 songs. You know, it gives you this like really cool apocalyptic image, like blood red skies, you know, bodies dead in the streets, Jimmy Fallon as president, you know, like it's real apocalyptic shit. And I love it. I just came by the Jimmy Fallon thing, but like I love the imagery that it was giving me. And
that's awesome.
And if I could compliment the song you did about war, and I don't know if you did this consciously or not, but in the chorus, it really reminds me of the symphonic piece, Mars, God of War, like because I hear the tritone in there. So when I heard that, I was just like, "Oh, I see what he did," and like maybe I'm thinking too much about it, or you know.
No, you caught it.
Yes.
I'm all about nuggets like that. I mean, I think that's my roots in Prague and like sneaking little things in and stuff. Yeah, you caught it. That's cool.
I loved it.
Nice.
Spoiler alert, too late. Sorry. You can cut that out if you have to. It's okay.
No, that's up to Alex.
No, that's fine.
But yeah,
let them look forward to the tritone.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's good. It's worth it.
It is. It definitely is. And I can't wait to. What do you plan on? Like, what do you plan on doing with this? Like, if a record label doesn't come to you or whatever, what do you plan on doing?
We're probably going to give it some more time. Because I mean, we are having a little bit of talks right now, nothing concrete, but there's at least the beginnings of some talks. But if nothing like works out the way that we want it to, with like deals that we're happy with or anything, then yeah, we'll self-release it sometime this year. We do already have a lot of like the promotional materials made already. We have 4 lyric videos already fully like finished, and they're much more. I think the imagery really goes along quite well with like the sound effects and stuff. It's pretty locked in with that.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool. And yeah, so we'll see. We don't exactly have a full game plan yet. It's kind of up in the air. Depending how the cards fall over the next month or two.
Well, hopefully things go good. So that you have another band that you showed me.
Yes.
And this one is fairly new, right?
Very new.
Very new. And even Stan, bring back Stan to the show again. He should just came on the show. Talk about him somewhere.
We got to get Stan on here. Yeah.
He can wear like a mask on his face. I know we don't like to.
Why just put a graphic of Stanley the Rat, and they'd be like, "There's Stan right there."
I should. Actually, that rat was named after Stanley.
That's funny.
How original.
I know. I almost named my son because my son's first name is Paul. I wanted to name him Paul Stanley. My wife wouldn't let me do it.
Okay. Ooh. I can see that.
And then Stan told me it was a terrible idea.
Paul Stanley of Kith.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ralph Vieira.
Yeah. But where was I? Oh, so he ended up naming your band.
Yes, he did. So, yeah. It's actually like kind of a surprisingly simple story. Me and Gail, my partner, and Stan were at a diner hanging out, which before lockdowns we did pretty often. And we were telling Stan, you know what? No, I'm telling this out of order. He was just saying, you know, it would be a cool, funny band name for you guys, and we didn't even have a band yet at this time. Plant-based metal, because we were telling him that like we were thinking about maybe going, you know, vegetarian or vegan, you know, or whatever. Like we were thinking about it at the time, and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
that was like I've never had a funny band name before,
right?
And so I cracked up at it. So did Gail. So we kind of kept that in the back of our minds. And then when we did actually come up with some music, we're like, you know, that just feels right. Let's just go with it.
Yeah.
So he named the band.
Does he want royalties now if you ever get big?
He does not. Stan, aside from being a creative mastermind, he's a very generous person. He does not want anything.
Yeah. No. This is the Stan Appreciation Show.
Yes, the Stan Appreciation Show.
We love you, Stan. Oh, yes, we do.
This, I also believe too, this is your girlfriend's first time singing in a band or anything. Does she want to join on the show so we could talk to her or no?
Not today. Not today.
Not today.
Maybe another time.
Next time.
Once we have some more music coming, maybe.
All right.
But sorry. What was the question?
I don't even remember. Is this the first time she's
metal?
Oh, right. Okay.
The first time she started singing. Yeah.
It's not her first time singing. She's been doing musical theater her whole life.
Oh, okay.
But it's the first time that she did original music where she like wrote it.
Oh, okay.
So it was pretty cool. It was a fun experience to be involved with that.
Yeah.
She's really talented, and you know, there's like tons of people who are like fantastic performers but never delved into making their own music.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool to kind of just be able to be part of that.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. It's like totally out of genre for her.
I was gonna say, does she even like metal, or what's her usual genre?
Well, so she doesn't like dislike metal or anything. She likes some. I wouldn't say that she's like a knowledgeable metalhead or anything like that. But yeah, but she knows some, and she definitely listens to more since knowing me. But yeah, it was, I think, extra challenging for her because not only was it her first time writing music, like vocal melodies and whatnot, but it was to like almost progressive metal,
right.
sort of.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little out there, but I think she enjoys a good challenge, and so she tackled it, and it's really fun.
Yeah, it came out really good. I think you showed me 2 videos, right? 2 lyrics.
Yeah. We have 2 songs that are out so far. There's a couple more that are in the works.
Yeah. Is it just on? Because you showed me the YouTube. Is it on Spotify or iTunes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both of those plant-based metal songs and all future ones will be on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, etc. Yeah.
Oh, awesome! Very cool. So everybody needs to definitely go check that out. I think it's really something unique too. It's not something, it's in a progressive genre, but it's all like with her vocals, you do like a little something different with the way she like sings them. But I don't really ever hear something like that, with other bands, So I think it's very unique sounding.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
So it works really good, and it fits with the name and everything. So it's really cool.
Just found it. 2 singles on iTunes.
Perfect. More on the way.
Good. How much more? Are you going to plan on putting an album out at some point, or?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we'll do a full album, or I think it'll just be singles over time.
Yeah.
We have at least a few singles that are in the works. They're all various stages of done. They're sort of on the back burner at this moment, mostly because finally, like, the world's starting to open up again a little bit,
Yeah.
So, with trying to get back to work and everything, some of the fun stuff has to, take a back seat, as we all know. But it's in the works. Definitely this year there'll be some more plant-based metal.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, just to get wrapping this up here, how important do you think it is to like have an album this day and age. Because like with Spotify and streaming and everything, and idiot from Spotify, with the way he pays bands, and he's like, bands should put out songs every month or whatever to keep their income coming in, but realistically a lot of bands can't do that stuff. So like, do you think albums are really important anymore, or like how do you feel about it?
I guess my answer is like twofold. I think unfortunately they are less important than they were before. That's like part A. And part B is that I hate it. Especially coming from the prog world. I mean, all of my favorite albums would have never existed if it was a world of only singles,
Right. Yep.
So that's maybe a bit of a grim future for that kind of music. Hopefully people love it enough to still seek albums out,
Right.
But I think that maybe the happy medium for probably all musicians, but definitely people in the metal world, is to maybe try both. You put out an album and then you have some singles in between.
Yeah.
It's more work though. It's tough. It
is. Just like a band that we had on last week. They just released an album, the band Skyliner. And they did it with the last album that they did. They released an EP afterwards, so they're kind of doing album and then like an EP, some different type stuff in between each album, I guess, because, just to keep the band out in the open, to keep the band out there. So people know that they're still doing stuff and everything. And that helps too,
Yeah.
But to see everything is like, about singles now. I mean, it sucks to me because, look at all the shit I got behind me. Those albums,
I know.
I couldn't think of just listening to singles all the time.
Something that I think bands should look into is definitely, copyrighting their music, being self-published, and when it's time for you to press albums, instead of going the usual route of 1,000 or 2,000 copies, just print 500, because it's a lot easier to reprint 500 than it is to get rid of 1,000. Adaptation to today's music industry and just being smarter about certain decisions will help bands go a long way.
Absolutely.
And Alex, for the record, I am someone who still loves physical media. So, when the album comes out, please don't send me a copy. I will buy one.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, we definitely still want to get physical copies made for the upcoming one. We didn't for Penumbra, at least not yet. Although we probably will once we're actually back to doing shows. We just, honestly, during the lockdowns and stuff, we had to kind of allocate our resources where we could, The main place you sell CDs is at your performances. So without performances, we figured, you know what, let's put that money towards the next album and, we'll worry about printing later. Yeah. So,
Yep, which is unfortunately the things that us little bands have to do,
Yep.
But, hopefully it ends up working out in the end and everything. So that's all that we can hope for.
I do agree with what you said, though, that, printing less is the way to go.
Yeah.
It took
at least you have something.
Time.
That's like with with my band. All the shit that's going on with both of you know.
No comment.
But yeah, so we're printing just 300 CDs, but at least it's something, I've already had people message me, when are you going to have a CD? Are you going to have a CD? And somebody was against it, but I know there's people that still buy the physical things.
Yeah.
So you have to have them.
You have to look at the physical media purchasing public as separate from the mainstream music public.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's true.
So don't ever think just because you have a band and an album and people are going to listen to it on Spotify that they're not going to want a physical thing, because sometimes for some God-known reason, something just disappears from Spotify or iTunes or whatever, just for no reason. And then it's gone forever. Then you can't find the CD. And Lou, we've went through all this before, it's just...
Actually, we're going through that right now with Infinite Spectrum. One of the albums is not on Spotify right now. Because the contract with the label ended, it was 5 years, I guess. And So now we have to put it up. So like
Okay.
it's in queue to go back up right now.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of times it takes a few weeks or whatever. So
Yeah. It actually took a month for mine to go up. I was like, what the hell?
yeah. That's how. Actually, that's
Took a long
about how long
time.
it took for Tension Rising too. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. But it's fun. I do like, well, because now, like my new car, it doesn't have a CD player in there. Bless you, by the way, whoever that was. So, but it's nice to be able to just take my phone and my album is on there. Everybody's albums are on there. So it's cool for for that reason. But to have it an actual physical thing is way better. It also sounds better too.
Right. Yeah.
Boy, she's got an allergy attack, huh?
Allergies have been really bad lately. Let me tell
Yes,
you, I have
they
been
have.
suffering so much.
Yeah.
I had been off of allergy medicine for years. I am back on it. Yeah. Sorry, what was I gonna say?
Get her some
Shit.
Zyrtec.
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, right. The streaming. Yeah,
Yes.
I read just like a day or two ago that like now some of the streaming services are adding the HD audio.
Oh yeah. Amazon has that now.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I think the one I read was that Apple's adding it, but even the most expensive Apple headphones that they offer don't do it.
Really?
Yeah, doesn't
Oh.
support it.
Oh.
So like you might actually even put like the HD recordings onto your phone thinking, all right, well, I'm going to hear the HD version. But if you're using certain devices, it still won't happen.
Interesting.
I only discovered that recently. I'm an audio engineer, and I didn't even know that like some devices don't support it. I didn't know that. I thought like, as long as you have good headphones, it'll just reproduce what it's supposed to. But
I wouldn't think it would matter, but
yeah.
that's how they make their money. There's always something new that you got to buy.
If you want to hear HD music, you got to buy this one. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how the world works. Right, Lou?
That's the right answer.
All right. Alex, where can we find every single band that you do? Oh.
Well.
And the ones you don't do.
One place. All in one place. I don't think there is all in one place. Well, I suppose you could look my website up, alexrepetti.com. Although, I don't know if everything is there, but I know that there's at least social media links on there that'll send you off to Spotify. So I think at least a lot of it would be there. Okay. But yeah, if you're looking for the 3 different bands that I do, I think your best bet, I guess, is to just look them up one by one.
They all have .coms, or are they just on Facebook?
Well, all 3 are on Facebook, that's for sure. TensionRisingBand.com.
All right.
Because, of course, the other one was taken. It's InfiniteSpectrum.net.
Okay.
We had that one a long time. Yeah. The people who had the .com tried selling it to us for $15,000.
Jeez.
It's a vacant website. It's just a vacant website.
Oh, wow.
Someone bought it at some point before we were a band. And Plant-Based Metal does not have a website yet, but we do have a Facebook page.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. You need to get a link tree.
I have a link tree. So you know what? If you look me up on Linktree, I would be there. But I'm gonna have to do that. That's good advice.
See, we always have good ideas with each other. This is what I like. This is the things that I like.
I have link trees for each band, but I don't have one for me.
You just got one link tree.
Yeah.
It has everything you do on it.
Yeah, I got to do that.
Make it very simple for everybody, right, Lou?
That's what I did, and I threw on RotSideReview.com and the YouTube channel on that too, because I represent my people.
That's right. And by the way, I just put you on the website, so now you can see Lou's picture on the bottom.
I did see it.
Yeah, I just updated that yesterday. Still got some
I just
stuff
looked
to do.
yesterday.
Well, I have to look it up.
Yeah.
Wayne probably created an OnlyFans for me too. Anyways, no.
I didn't want to say that. But no, you are now officially on the website. Now I have to officially put you on the intro of the show.
Oh yeah, get my face up. Nah, you don't have to. It's all good.
I thought you would be in there somewhere, but you're not. So I'll have to really.
No, I'm the afterthought. Just like when my daddy had that bottle of booze, and then I was, popped out 9 months later, 12 minutes after my last brother. It's okay. I'm the happy accident.
Oh Oh,
somebody love me.
All right, Lou. What's your new show? What's going on with you?
Oh man, so many good things going on. So I just interviewed Baby Ghost, who is this great alternative artist. Definitely a bit on the progressive political spectrum, but we didn't talk politics. And I really do like her music, and I believe in what she's doing. I think she's really good at what she does. And I got her. I'm still editing the episode that I did with Images of Eden. Tomorrow, I'm interviewing Rob Castoria of the band Marauder, the world-renowned New York hardcore band Marauder.
Yep.
What I'm going to call him. And Rob's a cool guy, so looking forward to speaking with him. And I'm from the band Leeway. I actually got, I should say, Eddie Leeway got in touch with me, and he actually said, "Hey, why don't we do an episode of your podcast where we talk about Astoria?" Our hometown and what it was like growing up in there and music and stuff. And I said I'd be honored to have him. So got a lot of good stuff happening with Music is Life podcast. And again, Wayne, I can't thank you enough because, you were like the first guy to believe in what I was doing. And now I'm on the show too. So, it's definitely expanded me to, a new audience. And I appreciate that. And I only want Music is Life and Rat Salad Review to grow together. So this is why I have you on my link tree. And if you guys want to check out more, check out musicisLifepodcast.com.
Very cool. Man, you're a busy, busy man.
Hey, not enough hours of sleep in a day.
No, there's not. But you can go find Rat Salad Review at ratsaladreview.com. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, and Facebook. Just look up Rat Salad Review. It'll come up there. Just do a little search on Google or whatever you want to use. And I think that's it, right?
That's it.
That's it. Oh, no, that is not it. I didn't promote this.
Well, wait, there's more?
There's more. Project Resurrection. Alex Repetti. I got your name even on the back. See that, Alex? Somewhere here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right there. See, I put your name in there.
Thank you.
See? So people know who to go to.
Wait a minute. You spelled it wrong. You didn't put the umlaut over the E.
He doesn't have one.
I know.
So this way, everybody knows who to have mix their album and master it and everything, and it will come out sounding great, just like that does. And even Alex's bands, Infinite Spectrum and Tension Rising and Plant-Based Metal, everything sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Your shit sound awesome too, by Alex Repetti. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you very much, Alex, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Alex, you're hired.
I'll talk to you for in a half hour about something.
All right. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right,
Great being
everybody.
here.
Cheers.
See you later, guys. Bye.
What?